Hello there. Now we have looked at the basic setup of your page, and we've looked at the different modules. That's all in the last video if you missed any of that. What I want to do now, and from this video onwards, is show you how I would set up a page in the WP Easy Pages plugin. So let's jump straight into that and do that now. This is kind of where we left off. I've taken everything off the page because I wouldn't start by adding elements to the page. What I'd start by doing, like I've said before, you save that, and then you click on this button over here that appears. It only appears after you've saved, so you need to save this first, and it's called Page Styling. And this is where adding this is where having a good plan of what you want to do comes into effect, because the information that you're going to put in here will determine whether or not the page loads in kind of in the right way. You don't really need to worry about it too much. If the page looks like you want it to look, that's fine. But we're going over here the sort of the best way of setting up a site. So first of all, we're going to take a look at what you've got here. On the left hand side, this is your page. Obviously there's no modules in it for the moment, so there's nothing there. And you can't add any modules in this step, so you have to sort of be aware of that. All we're doing is we're setting up the very, very basic elements of your page. And to do this, we go over to here, and you'll see we've got this grey box at the top here. And this gives you access to various different things, the body, the link, the paragraph text, for example. And clicking on these little plus or minus icons, that's going to scoot everything up, and we can go down to headings there and take a look at the heading settings. But we'll start off with general, and the first thing you'd want to do is body. Now, if you want a background for your page, this is where you set it up, and you've got two options here. You can have a color background, or you can have an image as a background, or actually you can mix both, and I'll show you that in just a second. So the first thing you do, click on this little plus icon in a square under background, and that's going to bring up the media library again. So what we're going to do here is say, I know, we'll use this as a background image. That's fine. We'll select that. And there you go. Our background image is on the page. So you've got a few options here as well. You can choose full cover, and that means that the image is going to be stretched to the size and shape of your page. You can have repeat all, which means that the image will remain at its same size, but it's going to repeat the image. Now let me just show you this quickly with a different image. If I use this one, this is a pretty small image. So if I select that and I have repeat all, you see it's going to repeat in both directions. If I choose repeat horizontally, it goes across. Repeat vertically, it goes down, and no repeat, it's just a single image. And full cover again, as I said before, that stretches the image so that it fits on the page. So let's go back to where we were with our beach setting here. You also have this drop down box here which gives you the position of the image on the page. So right at the moment the default is left top, but maybe we want to move it to center, or maybe to center top. Sorry, left center, where are you? Right, center top, sorry, there we go, or something else, in order to give you that sort of look on the page. So that's adding a background image. If you want the background of your pages to just have a single color, you can do that by clicking in this box here, which is the little sort of checkered box. Now, once you've chosen a color, that box will change to the color that you've chosen. So let's click in that. You get a little color picker, fairly simple to do, and we're going to, you can have a black one there, but let's give it a fairly light bluey sort of color. That's our background color, and you notice this changes almost instantly. You know, it's you can see exactly what you're doing when you're on the page. So that's the two ways that you would add a background. Now, I did say that I would show you the other way of adding a background. Oh, that's the other thing. If you've got a color set and you decide you don't want a background color on the page, you can take that off and delete that, and you get you back to your transparent background. So the other thing you can do, if you find semi-transparent backgrounds, and we've added a few in some of the templates that we've used, you can use those. So this is a semi-transparent background. We click on that, we select that, and you can see it gives you a kind of a shape all over the thing. I just set that to left top because it doesn't really matter on a tiled image. But we can now change the background color as well. So maybe we change it to something like this, you see. And it adds not only the effect, but the color of the background underneath, because the image is semi-transparent. So you can find those. I can never remember where to find them. Transparent textures, that's where it is. Transparenttextures.com, and you've got a ton of these that you can use. They're all royalty free. All you've got to do is click on it. I'll click on the download link there, and you'll download the PNG to your thing, upload that to your WordPress site, and you can add something like this onto your page as well. So that's the basic body options. You've also got something that I think is important here is the font. So let's go back and let's decide to have a background that looks like that. That's where we want to leave it. You've also got font options here. Now you've got other options as well. You've got padding options here, and if you go into the advanced section, you'll find you've got even more options for you to play around with. I would suggest, if you're not good at web pages, don't touch these. If you're learning, play around with them, but not on a site that you're going to use for production. And if you're advanced, you'll kind of know what these are. You've got width and height and minimum width and minimum height settings. You can even change sort of the opacity of objects. That's changing the opacity of everything because I'm on the body tag. But yeah, ignore them if you're not that great and you don't feel confident with them. That's fine, because you'll be able to do 90% of what you want through this basic system anyway. So with your background selected, the other thing it's important to do is select a default font and default font size for your page. And this is why I always start with page styling, because it's entirely possible that you will set something up here, or drag an element into your screen, and it doesn't have the default font in it, and you will try for ages to figure out why it's not right. I've done this myself. It's a great idea to just make sure that under body you've set your font. Now, my favourite font for doing this is something like Roboto, or what else have we got in here? We've got Open Sans. That's the one we've used for a lot of this stuff. Open Sans is a really nice looking font. We'd set it to maybe 14 pixels as a font size, and maybe give it, I don't know, 18 pixels as a line height. You don't need to do anything other than that. That's it. Once you've done that, you can either click on Done or you continue with building. Now, the thing about setting a font size at this stage is that it won't affect the paragraph tags and the heading tags. So you also need to go and set it will affect those, apparently. You also need to go and set these. You can do that in advanced. Under the advanced tag, you've got a font option here, and again you can do the same thing. It was Open Sans that we were using here, wasn't it? 14 and 18, and this seems like, God, that's a lot of work to do one thing, but actually it's really, really important to do. With the link, again, same sort of thing. Open Sans there, 14, 18, but you might want to give the link a different color. You might want to say, I want all of my links a kind of light blue, and then the link hover. In fact, we'll copy that color as well, because we'll use that in here. Open Sans 14, 18, and we'll put our color in there. The only thing we're going to change here is we're going to tick this button and make sure that when you hover over it, it's underlined. Now, the rest of this you can largely leave alone unless you want to change the look and feel of it later on. But you are going to have to do exactly the same thing here with the headings that you've got, because each one of the headings can change their look and feel. They're not dictated by the body tag. So with each one of the headings, set your thing, 14. Maybe you want to use a different color. Maybe you want to use a different sort of blue again. And in fact, heading 1, you probably wouldn't want to be 14. You might want to be something like 28, and then 32 for the line height. And maybe you want your main heading to be bold and not open sans. Maybe you want it to be Play Fair Display, for example, which I use on my own website. And maybe all of your H1 headings you want centered, so you can tick the centered box there. And you can go down and do that with every single one of your H tags, changing the size or changing the font or the font type or color or whatever, depending on what you want to do that with. So those are all the main settings that I would do on page styling when you first set the thing up. When you have finished, you click on the Done button and you let it do its thing, and it'll load the page in there for you to have a look at. Now what you can do is you can go back up to Easy Pages, you can choose the page editor or page styling, or you can click on Edit Page here and it'll take you back into the WordPress backend where you can keep going with your editing. That's it for this video, but next video we are going to be taking a look at the page editor and how to add elements to the thing and how to style all of the elements once you've got them in there. Until then, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.